camera's all crooked today. Oh boy, oh boy. All right. Yo, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It's time for another live stream. Today is Monday, June 3rd, 2024. Guys, it's the last full day of school for my kids. They got one half day tomorrow. And that's it for the school year. My brain is pretty much fried by the end of the school year. I don't know why. It's not like I went to school, but it always happens by the end of the school year. Like, I'm forgetful, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, and I don't know. I'm there again this year, but got some exciting things to talk about today. Got two new pairs of shoes from Asics that we'll take a look at. Some very interesting things. But first, let's ahead everyone listening on the audio only version on the podcast. Hopefully you guys are having a good run out there today. It's starting to get hot. It was really humid for my run today. Hold on, this camera. So all sorts of off balance. I'm crooked, guys. It's you guys on the podcast are lucky. You can't see how slanted everything is. I don't know why it's doing that. It's driving me crazy. But we're going to have to go with it because I guess it fits with the theme of the year, of feeling a little bit off. But I did have a good workout today, and that's another reason why I'm feeling off because I kicked my butt. I didn't think it was going to, but it did. I had to work out on the track. It was hot, no shade, a little bit of wind in the bad way, and I'm exhausted now. So hopefully as you're listening to this on the audio version, hopefully you're having a good workout. Hopefully it's not too humid for you guys. And for everyone watching this later but not live, this is the #1 running podcast to listen to be reminded of those calendar milestones. The kids are almost out of school. You got to start planning some stuff. We passed a lot of the holidays. A lot of the big things are done, right? Is Father's Day coming up soon? I don't really pay attention to when that is. But let's see. We don't have a lot of calendar stuff to remind you guys of on the later but not live. But hopefully you're having a good time. Listen to this as you are. Maybe you're packing for a summer vacation. As you're doing that, this is a good thing to have on in the background, I feel like. All right. Dan Johnson says he's finally recovered from IT band syndrome. He did a solid 10 miles on Saturday and a half marathon coming up in 3 weeks at Grandma's. Ooh, that's kind of jumping right into it, Dan. But I'm glad you're feeling better. It's hard to believe that Grandma's is just 3 weeks away. And Carwan Running says, hey, Co, hello from England, New Forest. It's been humid here too. Oh boy. Nitu Saxana says, when will the Neo Vista review be coming? Probably not for a couple of weeks. I have only got one run in it so far. I have some mixed thoughts on it. It was an interesting shoe. You know what shoe it really reminds me of? Where did it go? I think I moved it. The Rabbit Dream Chaser shoe. The supercritical EVA foam that's in there, that's a little bit too mushy for my taste, even for my tastes. It kind of feels like that's the same thing that's in the Neo Vista. I get such a weird response from that shoe because of the way that wave plate works in there. And sometimes it works with me. Sometimes I feel really uncomfortable in it and it hurts my arches. I'm trying to figure out what... I have a feeling if you're a heel striker, it's going to be a great shoe. If you like all the other newer Mizuno shoes, you're going to like this one. But if you're not a heel striker, is it still good for you? I'm not sure. It might be one of those very specific use case kinds of shoes, which I don't know. It could be, it just might be one of those very polarizing shoes. Some people love it. Other people are like, I don't understand this. You know? Daniel Burns says Flag Day is a week from this Sunday. Oh, it's coming right up. And Vanessa Martinez says, you know what? Summer runs equal fall gains unless you live in the South where it's hot and humid a lot. All right. Lisa says we need a cowbell for Eric and Rich, please. But we got. Let me see what they got here. I gotta find it. All right. Someone has to put them in there. And then I'll give him some cowbells. Kevin Finlayson says the Adizero SL2 dropped quietly yesterday, and it looks exciting. I've seen it before. I think I saw it when I was in Germany. I think I saw it another time before then, before I got to Germany. It's more Lightstrike Pro this year, which does make it interesting. If it did drop yesterday, hopefully you're not trying to trick me. I don't know if any of that's under embargo, but it's going to be a bigger portion of Lightstrike Pro, which is definitely exciting. Juggle Mank says, the blue colorway doomed it. I actually kind of like the blue. I normally really dislike blue shoes, but I don't think that the blue on the Neo Vista is terrible. I actually find it's going to be a very comfortable wearing around shoe. I like the blue on the Neo Vista more than I like the blue on the Rabbit Dream Chaser. Let's put it that way. Let's rank bad blue shoes. What other bad blue shoes we got? We got the, it's just off camera. Over here is the Nimbus. That's more of a navy. And then all of my blue, notice most of my blue shoes are off camera. The blue from the Ghost 16, it's more of a Chicago Bears blue. I don't mind it. The blue from the Glycerin, I don't know what number it is. It's a Knicks blue. I don't mind that one. And then, you know what? Maybe I'm coming around on the blue shoes. This Cielo X1 blue, I'm not a huge fan, but it doesn't bother me. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm coming around on blue shoes. All right. Calvin says a Rich completed a 100-miler in 31 hours. Rich, which 100-miler was it? Man, you know what's crazy is that there are many 100-mile races. You wouldn't think that there'd be a lot, but there are a lot, it seems. Mark Peterson says, your Rebel version 2 blue is bad. This one? This baby blue? I actually kind of like this one. I don't mind this. The blue that's on the outsole, though, I don't know. No. But this blue on the Rebel 2 isn't bad, I don't think. Maybe it is bad. I don't know. Yeah. JC says, I've had many blue shoes, second only to black. Really? Oh, boy. I like the ones that are what I call yellow, but you guys probably call lime green. That's a color that I like. Like the Nova Blast here, the Endorphin Elite, this Puma. Is that yellow? I think it's yellow with a little bit of green in it. I like that. General Triangle says we need a new column for the spreadsheet. Color? No. I don't know. Brian D says, hey, I just got into running and picked up a pair of Vomero 17 as a daily. Local shop has an Endorphin Pro 3 at 30% off. Still 3.5 months away out from my first marathon. Is it too soon for carbon? I'd say no. The Endorphin Pro 3 is going to go away. You're not going to be able to get it later. But if it's your first marathon, the Endorphin Pro 4 is still also going to be a really good option for you later if you decide that you want to get into carbon. But 30% off the Endorphin Pro 3 is a good price. You could always just get it, sit on it for a little while, and then run in it later as you get closer. But for a lot of people, for their first marathon, you don't necessarily need carbon fiber plates shoes. Is it fun? Yes. But it depends. If you want to get it, it's your money and your feet, So, but 30% off is a good price. Runnerwell says, you've come a long way in terms of colors for shoes. It's not by my choice. So, a lot of the times, the reason why, so all the shoes, for those of you who remember the reviews in the beginning, the shoes were all black because those are the shoes that I bought myself. And then I started getting shoes from brands. and then they send whatever they send. They send the launch colorways, and they almost never send black. And I think it's because the black doesn't show up as good on camera, and so they, even if black is a launch colorway, which for like the Hoka Clifton, black is always a launch colorway, they never send the black one. They did send a black Mach 6, which I like, but it doesn't pop. Looks great in real life, but on camera it doesn't pop. So that's why I think I don't get to run in very many black shoes anymore. And Matthias Ventus says that there was a race director out there that was wearing his Neo Vistas for just walking around about a month ago. Yeah. I think it's very comfortable for walking around because I love knit uppers. And the knit upper on the Neo Vista is really good. There's a couple of problems with it, though. Where are my Neo Vistas? I think they're upstairs. I think I may need to relace them a little bit because I was getting a little bit of chafing around the collar. There's that plastic piece at the top. And that plastic piece wasn't bothering me, but the way the laces were fed through it, that was bothering me. So, I don't know. Richard Wilson says it's cool. And I beat Craig Thornley in a 100 on my tombstone. He DNF'd. He's the race director of states. Great job, Rich. That's a good job. A Cool Moon is the name of the 100. And Eric says, is the Cool Moon Hundo the looped one out in the vineyards? I don't know. And Crunchy says, have you done any runs in the Rabbit Dream Chaser? Looking forward to the release this weekend. I have. It's very mushy. It's too mushy. It's very comfortable to walk around in. It's very comfortable being on feet. The upper materials are great, but as you would expect, textiles would be great from Rabbit, but it's not something that you're going to be running fast in. I'm not going to be running fast in it. And they're sending me a new pair. I don't know about just me, but the first batch of shoes that they sent out that they made, and they sold them in Boston. You guys remember that? They sold them with the carbon tracks. I think that's what they're calling them. 2 little pieces of carbon, not sandwiched between 2 layers of foam, but almost near the bottom. And those would make a lot of noise if you stepped on or if you were running on gravel or something. And they told me that they're going to send me another pair where they've updated the design to cover the carbon tracks. I'm guessing they left them open so you could see the carbon. But I think that people were worried that they were going to break it or that it was noisy. Maybe it was I don't think it would cause traction issues, but maybe that was a concern that people had. But they said they're going to change it and resend it to me. So I'm not going to keep running in the old one anymore, and I'm going to switch over to the new one once I get it. I didn't know that there was a release this weekend. I wonder which one they're going to... I'm guessing they're going to sell the new one. Interesting. Christoph Flush, he says, what watch is that? This is the Coros Pace 3 track edition. I had a track workout today, so I felt like it would be good to wear the track watch. Graham Haynes says, I picked up a pair of the Endorphin Pro 3 from Running Warehouse for $150. Going to be here in a few days. My first completed shoe, and I can't wait for it. It is a good, the Endorphin Pro 3, really good, $225 retail. So many people can run well in it. It's just a lot of fun, and the upper fit great. Yeah. That's a good one. And Calvin says, it's always worth it to get your race shoes at a steep discount. It won't last as long as a daily trainer, so make those dollars per mile count. Yeah, there's, I felt like in 2024, we weren't going to have that conversation so much anymore about like race day shoes don't last as long as regular shoes. Just like, for example, racing tires or a racing car doesn't last as many miles as like a Honda Civic, you know. But it keeps percolating. It comes to the top every once in a while. And I've been getting a bunch. I've been getting a lot of really grumpy. I don't know, maybe the algorithm has been trying to share me or suggest me to more people. And so people who have like never seen me before are finding me. And I generally find that people that have never found me before, there are many levels of good reasons why they haven't been shown my videos before. And so it's just been kind of grumpy in the comments. I get the sense that a lot of you guys don't see them, but I see them. Just the way that I review comments on YouTube Studio. But I don't know. Race shoes don't last as long. And in fact, I'm kind of at this point arguing that they should last even less. Because I feel like there was the initial kind of like pushback against race shoes not lasting that long. And so brands were like, all right, let's make race day shoes, but make them last. Let's bring durability back into one of the more important criteria. And then the shoes got less good. And that's, I think, where we're at right now in 2024. Probably going to see some of that into 2025 too. And I'm not happy about that. I want them to last longer than an Evo 1 or a Hyperion Elite 1, but I don't need them to last 300 miles of racing, you know? Colin's here. He says, yo, what's going on? Amazing 7-mile rain run yesterday. A new PB 5K. Yes, Colin. He says, felt so dang fast. Hope everyone was doing well today. Well, that's good to hear, Colin. Great job. General Triangle says, I love bright colored shoes. Like the more neon, the better. Totally out of character for my normal aesthetic, but I don't care. I don't know. For running, I really like crazy colors. Maybe that's just your way of expressing yourself, you know? I think that makes a lot of sense to me. Thomas One says, what's going on, everyone? First live stream in a while. Welcome back, Thomas. Good to see you. Nitu Saxena. What's going on, Nitu? Says, what is a good shoe rotation for a 4-foot striker? There's a lot of options. A lot of shoes are geared towards 4-foot strikers. There aren't a lot of shoes that I would say are specific to just 4-foot strikers or just heel strikers or just mid-foot strikers. A lot of shoes tend to have a lot of flexibility. So it's not really like a criterion by which I sort shoes frequently. But what I will give you is shoes that I think are very specific towards 4-foot strikers. The Metaspeed Sky Paris, very specific for 4-foot strikers. Heel strikers will probably actually dislike it. Let's say probably shoes like the Nova Blast. Although Nova Blast, I feel like heel strikers like it too. Trying to think, what are other 4-foot specific shoes that only 4-foot strikers will like? I'm not sure. Because a lot of other shoes, you can kind of... I feel like there's a lot of shoes that heel strikers like that 4-foot strikers won't. But I feel like a lot of 4-foot striking shoes, heel strikers will probably also like it too. There's not a lot. I find them primarily in the race category. Because for these 4-foot striking shoes, the heels get very small and narrow. And heel strikers, of course, don't like that. So it's a hard question to answer because it's not that different from my normal recommendations for just good shoes for a variety of foot strikes. Does that make sense? I would say that the Adios Pro is probably also better for 4-foot strikers than heel strikers. And I can list off a lot of shoes that are good for heel strikers. They're mostly Mizunos and Brooks, you know? So. Benjamin David said, I ran the 15K at the Philly Run Fest yesterday, and while everything about that race was hard, the Minnesota Sky Paris were just delightful. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you had a fun time. That's cool. 15K. I feel like there's not enough 15Ks. I wish there were more 20Ks. 20K just makes a lot more sense than half marathon to me. Then it also doesn't feel like a half of something, you know? 20K just feels nice. I like it. Adam says, going back to mushy shoes. A shoe was too mushy for you? I thought you like break my ankle shoes. Yeah. So like when I say mushy, it's a very specific term. It's kind of like you sink into it and you stay sunk into it. Break my ankle shoes usually decompress quickly and compress quickly and decompress quickly. Like Nova Blast 3, for example. I feel like that foam like whoosh, whoosh, compress, decompress fast. That's the kind of stuff that's unstable for your ankles. Things that are mushy, you can kind of like think about plopping into a couch. A couch isn't mushy. You can just kind of plop down on the couch and for the most part, you're not going to fall off. But if there's a soft couch that also bounces back, that's something that you might fall off of. Although that being said, there were these like little cushions when we were in Herzo. There were these cushions that had these square blocks in sitting areas for us. And they would just lay them kind of out in like kind of like a grid for people to like mill around, sit down, relax while they were like listening to talks or in between panels and events. And the funny thing was, you couldn't tell by looking, but some of them were dense, like sitting on an upholstered block of wood. Some of them were very, very mushy. And if you sat on the mushy one thinking it was going to be dense, you would fall over. And I almost fell over a couple times. Megan Murray and I were kept almost falling over. It was really funny. Ken Gifford, sorry about that, Ken. Ken Gifford says, I'm an Asics guy, but I struggle. I have the Nimbus for recovery and Meta Speeds for race, but I need a long lactate type run shoe, and the Nova Blast is too slow and not good for long runs. I think that's where the Super Blast comes in for me. Or for a lactate, you might want to go a little bit faster than what the Super Blast I think is good for. And I think that's kind of, I would just use the Meta Speeds. But that's me, because I like running in the Meta Speeds. But I think that's where the Magic Speed kind of also fits in as well. Carlos Griego says, I ran with the Kinvara Pros today. Really enjoyed them. Also, Saucony can do no wrong for me. LOL. Did something happen where, like, did someone really famous start talking about the Kinvara Pro? Because all of a sudden, I've been getting a lot of questions about the Kinvara Pro in my comments on YouTube. And usually when that happens, it's because, like, a celebrity ran in them, you know? And so I've been getting questions like, does the Kinvara Pro have a carbon fiber plate like the Endorphin Pro? Is the Kinvara Pro as fast as the Endorphin Elite? Is the Kinvara Pro as fast as the Endorphin Pro? What's the difference between the Kinvara Pro and the Endorphin Pro? What's the difference between the Kinvara and the Kinvara Pro? I've been getting a lot of questions lately about it. It's one of the more confusing shoes for me. I'm glad you like it, Carlos. And I could see why a lot of people would like it. I actually think that Skyward X fans would really like the Kinvara Pro. The Kinvara Pro is a little bit firmer in my mind than the Skyward X. But I feel like those two shoes are friends, you know. Daniel Burton wants to know what shoes I used for the track workout. I thought about busting out the spikes, but I had 400s and 200s. And 200s is a long way for me to run in spikes, I feel like. Basically, I shouldn't be in spikes is what I'm saying. But I ran in the Under Armour Velocity Elite 2. And I felt like that was a good choice. That shoe is also very much a 4-foot striker shoe. When I'm warming up in it and I'm landing like midfoot, it almost feels like a negative heel drop. But then once I get on my toes, then I feel like there's heel drop and pop. But yeah, that's another racing shoe. All right, Lisa says box. All right, let's get to it. And this actually might answer some questions for you guys too. We got 2 shoes from Asics today. Let's go with, hold on. Let me get my scale ready. I'm excited for the scale. This is a good way to start the week. I feel like 2 shoes to add to the spreadsheet. That's gonna be fun. All right. First one, let's talk about is this one here. This is the Noosa Tri in safety yellow and cool matcha. All right, I've already looked at these shoes, but I'll show them to you guys too. Oh, I need a right shoe. Here we go. Really pretty. The Noosa Tri has also always been kind of like a crazy, wacky design of a shoe. It always looks like they just melt a bunch of crayons and make that the midsole. But the midsole in this one is FF Blast Plus. Oh boy. What did I just do? FF Blast Plus. We got some rubber on the outsole. There's no plate in this one. And then we have the upper, which looks a lot like... I mean, this looks a lot like a Nova Blast to me. The foam feels more dense. And historically, the Noosa has been basically a port of the Evo Ride. But with the Evo Ride being kind of, is it discontinued? I know there's an Evo Ride Speed. I've never tried that one. It's kind of like, what is the Noosa anymore? So like at this point, I haven't tried it. I think this may be... Guys, I'm going to make an admission. I think Asics has sent me now like 3 different pairs of Noosas over the years, and I don't think I've run in any of them. But this one I think I'm going to run in because I'm just trying to figure out how it's different from a Nova Blast. I mean, it even has like the same kind of like, butt chin in the back like a Nova Blast does. It feels like maybe this will give me like Nova Blast 3 vibes. I don't feel like it will because squeezing the Charmin here, it just feels a little bit on the dense side. So I don't think it will, but I don't know. It's promising. But the other thing that I know about this shoe is that it's got much more aggressive rocker from that Evo Ride days. But in addition to that, it's designed to be worn without socks. So you can skip the whole crew socks, ankle socks debate and just go sockless, which I think will just make everyone mad. But there's a lot of puffiness back here. I don't know. Interesting. And there's a hole. I don't know if you guys saw it. There's a hole in the tongue now. And there's a matching non-hole but a circle in the back for the pull tab. All right. Let's see. Just checking the comments. See if you guys had any questions about it. All right. Maurice Rand says he liked the Evo Ride Speeds more than the Nova Blast. Interesting. Are the Nova Blasts too squishy for you? Is that why? General Triangles, or what's the hole for? The air tag? I don't know. I think it's to let all the stank from your sockless feet escape, maybe. Yeah, Carl says, I'm not sure about the hole in the upper. I guess it's for triathletes. I don't know. I mean, it's a weird design flair. They did it because they could, maybe. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know if this is coming through either on the screen, but there's glitter on this. If you can see that. It's like glittery in there, which I kind of like. It's flashy. I like this one. All right. Let's get to the next one for today. This one is Magic Speed 4. Now this one is very peculiar and very relevant to the question we were asking before. Someone asking for a long lactate type of run. So like running a lot of threshold miles or tempo runs. I love the concept of the Magic Speed and I generally tend to like it, but I feel like they've always made the Magic Speed be the training companion that goes with the Metaspeed Edge. It's not ever made for Metaspeed Sky people. I don't know if this is going to be the year that they change it. So there's got a couple of things going on. Here it is close up. It's a big boy this year. It's over 40 millimeters in stack height. I want to say it's 43. I have a spec sheet around here somewhere. I can't. They never let us show you the spec sheets. But I got it. It says it is 43.5 with an 8 millimeter drop. So that's interesting. And there's still FF Best Plus on the bottom, and there's FF Turbo up top. And I'm not sure. I feel like, like the FF Turbo of the Sky Paris is different than the FF Turbo of the Sky Plus. And I feel like this is more like Sky Plus type of material. Still a carbon fiber plate in here. And I don't know. I meant to ask like what they did with the plate position. Is it going to be more like Sky or is it going to be more like Edge? But I feel like as soon as I put it on, I'll know. As soon as I run in it, I'll know which one it's supposed to be like. But I'm excited for it. It feels lightweight. Both of these shoes actually feel really lightweight. If I'm going to guess, I'm going to guess the Noosa Tri is a little bit lighter. I think the stack height on this is an 838. So it's a shorter shoe. 34.5. So 34.5. So lower to the ground than a Nova Blast. And this is taller than a Nova Blast. So I feel like I'm going to like this one. But I think for me, it's all going to come down to the plate position. We'll figure it out soon. Elisa wants to know, how does it smell? This smells like plastic. It kind of smells like a new car. Yeah. That was the Magic Speed 4. This is very yellow, right? Where did I get this for this? What do they call this? Yeah, safety yellow and black. See, I could tell this was yellow. I don't like the yellow and red. Like, there's a lot of primary colors going on there. I know this is more of a pink coral thing, but I don't know. This one has a slightly different plastic color. This one smells like a rubber ball, like a basketball. This one smells like a basketball. This one smells like upholstery. The Noosa Tri is the one that smells like a basketball. All right, you guys ready for some weights? I gotta get my spreadsheet ready. It takes time. Sorry, guys. I wasn't ready. I'm never ready. Okay. All right, we got to get the present, share screen. Here we go. Shoe weights. And then there. Okay. So we got it here. Oh, I got some work to do. So we got 2 Asics shoes. Okay, we got the Magic Speed 4. And then we have the Noosa Tri 16. And we got 0 miles on each one. We got the right shoe on each one. Size 9 on each one. I've gotten to the practice of just double checking all the time. Even if the box says 9, I always look inside at the shoe, because sometimes I've had a couple situations where that hasn't been the case. All right, size 9 on all these, and these are road shoes. All right, I think the Noosa Tri is going to be lighter, so we'll go with that one first. Zero it out. Got the Noosa on the scale here. That's a very respectable number. All right. Let me weigh the other one. Yeah, I was right on which one's lighter. Let's see if we get the same number again. All right. So for the Noosa Tri, we had 7.6 ounces and 216 grams. That's really light. Man. And then for the Magic Speed 4, 8.4 ounces and 238 grams. Still pretty light, especially for how tall it is. I feel like those are good. Let's see. You guys were close. Eric and Calvin came in at 7.5, and Eric said 8.4 for the Magic Speed. You were spot on. And Calvin at 8.6. Man, you guys are getting good at this. You're getting really good at this. All right. My favorite part. All right. Now I'm not going to sort the data. I'm going to cut and paste it. Scroll up to 7.6. We're getting to the top of the list for 7.6. 216 grams. I guess we'll put them in alphabetical order. I need to insert a row, and then we'll paste Noosa Tri. Do we put Asics first or Hoka? Do it by brand? Because we have... Oh, boy. No. We got to move this. It's 216 up here. We had... There, that's where it goes. See how cumbersome I made it? All right, so we got 3 shoes this year at 7.6 ounces and 216 grams. Oh, boy. General Triangle says, we're all getting ready if the carnivals ever come up with a guess this shoe weight game. I feel like that's the next game we should play. What's it weigh? Calvin says, this is like watching your dad cut coupons out of a magazine to order something on the computer. Eric says, there's an AOL sound playing in the background. Yeah, I just like doing it this way. 1, because it's funny. 1, this is the way that I would normally do it. And 2, I think it's funny because it makes you guys react. So let's put this one above the Valkyrie tier, the tier Valkyrie Speedworks. But yeah, 8.4 ounces. Heavier than mine, heavier than the Endorphin Pro 4 that Saucony sent me. Same as the Valkyrie Speedworks. So that doesn't feel right though. Oh yeah, okay, it is. In my hands, I feel it. So Valkyrie Speedworks, Magic Speed 4. I feel like these are going to be 2 really close competitors as well. I hope. If this is anything like the Valkyrie Speedworks, that's going to be good for the Magic Speed. Because I feel like the Magic Speed for me has been a harsh shoe. It's a shoe for running fast, you know. I felt like the Magic Speed 3 was a better, like, sometimes racing option. The Magic Speed 2 was more for training, but I enjoyed the Magic Speed 2 a little bit more. It was a little bit too firm. And I feel like that's what's going to happen with this Magic Speed 4. It's going to be like, you know, Asics, they go back and forth. 1 year it's one way, and then another year it goes back to the other way. I feel like that's what we might have in this tall boy. But there's only one way to find out. All right. Yeah. Leonore says, Co's resume reads proficient in Excel. I probably would put proficient in Excel on there. And Eric says, nah, it's good. We need the trolling. And Benjamin Randall says, the YouTube chat needs a GIF feature. I would agree. I like GIFs. I know they say GIFs, it makes you old. Only old people use GIFs, but I love them. And General Triangle says, get the way I do spreadsheets gets us all worked up. Yeah. And Mark says, you know, hey, this way, in case you accidentally don't grab the entire data set, you don't risk getting info all out of whack. I'm a big fan of the insert copy paste method. I agree. That happened to me once, like 12 years ago, and ever since then, I don't like to use data sort unless I have to. You know what I mean? Most of the data is already sorted, so why would I go through a whole other sort? That's my thought. I don't know. Lawrence says, is the Magic Speed 4 like a Super Blast 1 with a carbon fiber plate? I would say probably not. I think with the way that they've only written FF Turbo on here, that's what they want people to think. Now, is it a shoe that I think people would... Is that actually a bad way of describing it? No, I don't think it's going to feel like a Super Blast. I think that the way to kind of fit is like, remember that early question a little while ago? Someone was like, I need a shoe for like lactic acid runs or like lactate threshold runs. So threshold work. If they don't want to use, for me, I would just use my racing shoes. But if you want to save your racing shoes and you want like a racing like shoe or what we typically call a training companion, I feel like this Magic Speed 4 could be it. If you want to then drill back down a little bit further back in terms of pace intensity and go for a long up-tempo run, maybe a lot of miles at marathon effort or a little bit slower, that's where I feel like Super Blast really starts to excel. So that's kind of how I would see it. Like, so like Meta Speed would be for your race day. Magic Speed is typically for racing, training for a race day, but something that is a little bit cheaper and can handle a little bit more wear and tear. And then Super Blast is like a little bit slower still. So like fastest, fast, and not as fast. There's probably a more elegant way to say that, but that's the best I got off the top of my head. Maurice Rand says, I would love a Super Blast in the form of a Meta Speed with its rocker and all. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I don't know if that would be good. I think the carbon is pretty important in the shoe. I remember for the longest time we wanted a Nova Blast, but with a plate. And that's kind of what the Magic Speed 3 was. Because that had FF Blast Plus. Did the Magic Speed 2 have that too? I don't know where my Magic Speed 2s are. I feel like those were also FF Blast Plus. Or were they just, yeah, right? But when you put, I think that had a nylon plate. And when you put that in there, it changes the way that the shoe squishes. And so that's why a lot of people thought the Magic Speed 2 was a bit too firm, even though it nominally had the same foam. So the amount of foam, any stabilizing elements in it, and also the geometry of the foam make a difference. I forget who I was talking to. I keep remembering. I think I was talking to a product person at Adidas, and they were like, you have the ingredients of the foam, you have the way the foam is cooked, so to speak, and then the way that you put it, if we're going to continue this cooking analogy, the way you put your ingredients into the final dish, that all matter. You know? And so that's all makes, now even though you still call a lot of that stuff same foam name, FF Blast Plus, FF Turbo, you get different results than you think. But I hear what you're saying, Maurice. What? Calvin says, we joke, but Ko is actually well above average in Excel for his age group. I just liked it better when you were making fun of me for my Excel skills. When you put for his age group, that hurts more. Yeah, Elliot and Deer says, the Magic Speed 3 was very aggressive. I used it only for track intervals. It was very aggressive. It felt like a minimalist racing flat. I feel like people that like the old Meta Racer, do you remember that shoe? I still think that Asics sells that shoe. I think they still sell it because Ailish McColgan likes it. That's my theory. But they still make that shoe. And they haven't updated it since the first version, the only version. But I feel like it's a track flat, basically. And I've tried doing easy runs in it, and it's uncomfortable. You know. Calvin says, Calvin says Kozik's skills would BQ him for a spreadsheet race. That's funny and hurts a little bit. General Triangle says, you know what? I'd sign up for that, an Excel sheet tournament. Though I think there are actual Excel competitions, like esports style. I haven't ever seen what that's actually like, though. I guarantee you there's competitions for it. Have you seen there's like competitions for like making a hotel bed? It's like speed and accuracy put together. It's actually pretty impressive the way they can do it. And Eric says that the Magic Speed 2 had a top layer of FF Blast Plus. What was the bottom layer? Just regular FF Blast? Was it Flight Foam? Remember Flight Foam? Yeah. So like the Magic Speed 3, I felt like, yeah, it's interesting. I'm very intrigued that they put FF Turbo in this one. And it makes me wonder, like, does this mean like that's the end for all of the ride series of like the Evo Ride Speed? Is that gone now? Is there another Evo Ride Speed? I know the Glide Ride's gone, right? What was the other one? There was a third one. Evo Ride, Glide Ride. I want to say Dyna Ride, but I don't think that's it. Adrian Segura says, the price per gram of a shoe would be an interesting data point, and then split it up by foam type, carbon plate, yes, no, and etc. See whether you're over or underpaying for the amount of shoe you're getting. Yeah, I don't like that idea at all, Adrian. I think it would be interesting, but price also fluctuates over time and by region. And sometimes shoes companies get it wrong and they change their price, like with the Super Blast and with the S-Lab Spectre. And so that changes things too. And also I feel like whether you're getting a value is a very subjective discussion, which also will would have to take into account what's the anticipated mileage and whether having more miles per dollar is even a relevant consideration at all when you're talking about race product. And so those are all like fights that I fight regularly, and I don't want to invite more fights. Matthias Ventus says, anyone else looking forward to the Skyflow? I'm passing on the Skyward X in hopes that the Skyflow is great. I don't know. I don't remember learning anything about the Skyward. I remember kind of getting previews that the Skyward X was coming, and then I got it and I didn't love it. It's good. It's not $220. How much is it? $220? I don't think it's $220 good. But then like Skyward X, Skyward, what's going on with Bondi X? Like I think that just Hoka is confusing me right now. And so that makes me just like I can't with the Skyward. But I don't know. Is it going to be good? If you guys tell me I need to review it, I'll review it. But I don't know. And Eric says, I'm pretty sure it was flight foam in the Magic Speed 2, but it doesn't say on the shoe. And the Magic Speed 3 is an all FF Blast Plus. Yeah, I feel like that's the same thing that's going on with this one. Does that mean that the Magic Speed 5 will be all FF Turbo? And then I think, Maurice, maybe the Magic Speed 5 will be the shoe you've been looking for. A Super Blast, but in Metaspeed form. But it has a plate. I don't know. Maybe it's not. I don't know where they're going with it. I generally don't like to know what's going on like in future versions. One, because it's going to change, and two, because it's going to confuse me for what's going on in current versions, you know. And Maurice says, though, that the Evo Ride Speed 2 did just come out. Interesting. Alf Dickens says, we need to do a runner's weekend at an Excel spreadsheet tournament. I mean, you know, I feel like if at any point the running shoe thing goes away and I need another thing to like, if I were to start a YouTube channel if I were to like restart everything and it couldn't be running related, I think it would be to travel around to weird competitions and figure it out. I don't know if I'd want to participate and like get into it, you know, kind of like Dirty Jobs, but instead of Dirty Jobs, it'd be like, what are nerds into kind of thing. An Excel spreadsheet tournament. like a barista competition. Not that that's that nerdy per se, but like it's very like, what are people like niche excited about? The hotel bed making competition. That's something I want to do. Whatever that thing is that kids do with the cups, and then you make the pyramid, and then you have to take down the pyramid, and then you pick your hands up, like that thing. Like I feel like there's lots of competitions that are out there. I mean, spelling bees would be kind of like an easy intro, and that'd be kind of like a way of explaining the concept. But I feel like that would be kind of fun. I don't know how it would film any of that, and who would want to watch that, and how it would make that economically feasible. But I feel like that'd be kind of fun. Sanaki Mama. Is that right? Sanaki Yamam. Sanaki Yamam. 1987 says, have you seen the movie Arthur the King? It's also about running. I haven't seen that before. And trail running and more, he says. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Maurice wants to know, where's the Boston 13? The new Adios 9 and Adios Pro leaks look spectacular. I haven't seen an update to the Boston. I think if I did, I couldn't tell you about it, but I don't know that I've seen an update to the Boston. William Wongson says, any issues with pebbles getting stuck in the center groove in some of these newer shoes like the Neo Vista? I haven't had that problem. I did have some mud or dirt stuck in my shoe when I looked at the Under Armour Velocity Elites. But I have a jar of pebbles that I pick up out of my shoes. And I've been keeping it since we moved into this house because I regularly run on, like, it's not gravel. There's a route that I run that's like just lined with lots of rocks. And the rocks are kind of like smaller than golf ball size. They're like rocks on a walking path kind of thing. And they're the exact right size that would fit in a kind of a hole like this. And after a while, I got the jar like half full, and then I wasn't getting any more rocks, so I stopped collecting them. I put them in my rain gutter, the splash guard thing. So they're outside. But it doesn't happen to me all that much. I usually take a picture of it and share it on Instagram if that happens. But it's pretty rare. I think that what happens is it might get in there momentarily, and by the end of the run, it dislodges itself. Colin says the name of the show could be Nerdy Jobs. I like that. That's a job. That's a show I could be a host for. Nerdy Jobs. JC says, do they have spreadsheet tournaments? I guarantee they've got spreadsheet tournaments. There's got to be spreadsheet tournaments. I mean, there's stuff for everything, Carl says, Coast Exotic Travels, that would be really cool. Using the stylistic elements of the Runner's Weekend videos. I mean, I think we're onto something here, guys. I don't know. Maybe do we need to start at like a, what is it? What is it that they used for? Is that how Patreon? No. What's the one that was made for like funding an art project? That's not Kickstarter. Is it Kickstarter? Which one is that? And I'll make like 10 episodes. I'll make a budget for what events I need to cover. I'll try to get media credentials at all these events. And then we'll film it and we'll make it a special project. I don't know. Do we make it just one video? I don't know. I don't have the bandwidth, I guess, for that. All right, Adam says, I'm sore going into my taper week for Dipsy. That's okay, right? I think I always feel better when I'm like banged up going into the taper, because then I'm like, finally. I needed this. You know, when I feel good going to the taper, I'm like, I undertrained. I didn't do this right. You know, so I feel good about where you're at. If it's just sore, I feel good about that, Adam. Louis says, someone remembers the marble races they started when COVID hit. There's always someone willing to watch. I forget what running podcast I was listening to, and it was one with multiple hosts, but they had just discovered marble racing. It might have been Coffee Club. You know? Patrick says the Microsoft Excel tournaments are lit. Have you seen one? Are you familiar with that? Or are you just saying that as a concept? It's amazing. Oh, Patrick says, I was an accounting major and I still have no idea about half the commands I use. Oh, that's fun. I used to be much better at Excel because a lot of times I would use Excel as a way to create import files for a lot of the software that we used. And so I'd have to batch rename stuff and then batch import so that way it would fit the format that I needed. And a lot of times I use Excel for that. So I used to be a little bit better at it, on very specific kinds of things, but I'm very happy to have forgotten all my Excel skills. Jack D says, by the way, Excel World Championships are in Vegas, December 2nd through 4th. It takes 2 days to crown a champion. Amazing. All right, Adam says, speaking of Dipsy, it's the best running race if you have even heard of On the Edge. Oh, speaking of Dipsy, the best running race if you have even heard of is On the Edge. It's based on the Dipsy. Stars Bruce Dern. Running race, I think running video you mean, or running movie. Stars Bruce Dern, who is a competitive trail ultra runner. On the Edge. I'll have to look for that video. Colin says, are we sports betting on the Excel Championships? And Adam says, the spelling bee just wrapped up. So I was watching the interview with that kid, the young man that won the spelling bee, and they asked him how was he glad that it was over? And he's like, yes, I'm very glad because then I could take a break from studying. And they're like, how much did you study a day? Like an hour? And he goes, 6 hours a day on weekdays and 10 hours a day on the weekend, is what he said. And I feel like if I were one of his age contemporaries as an Asian person, I would have been like, God damn you. Because now every Asian parent's going to be like, you know how you get good at something? You have to do it for 6 hours a day on the weekdays and 10 hours a day on the weekends. And so, yeah, I was like, oh, I feel bad for all the other Indian kids that are out there right now that are about his age. Because they're about to get a tongue lashing. Do you know what the winner of the spelling bee did? Yeah. Yeah. All right. I think that's a good place to leave it for today, guys. I had a lot of fun. I got such a backlog of shoes, but I think now that we're on summer hours, I'll have more of a chance to get these shoes into the rotation, get some videos out. I got a bunch that I'm like behind on, so hopefully we'll do that. But as part of summer hours, remember, there won't be another live stream until Thursday. So I'll see you guys Thursday, but at the same time, 1 p.m. Central Time. Until then, stay cool out there, stay hydrated. Don't forget to bring extra fluids, bring a gel or 2 or 3. Be safe out there, buddy. Thanks.